You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Experience the Southern Sisters Radio Show uncensored and unfiltered on Facebook. Find us at Southern Sisters with Jenny Earhart. I'm in Wenz World, and I love it.
Excellent!
Hey, baseball fans. I'm Casey Motter. Welcome to Wenz World.
I got something for you, man.
My friends, football is the main course for today's Wenz World, but there's nothing better than the sweet sensation of our Southern sister, Jenny Earhart's dessert of the day.
Hey, Joey, it's dessert time. My favorite time.
Oh, yeah, it is. I think people should eat dessert first, as a matter of fact.
I think they do. And you know what? In the summertime, a lot of us don't feel like heating up the ovens. You know how that is?
Right, yeah,
you don't want to make
the
kitchen hot. It's too hot. So, you know, I almost debated as to whether even to call this a recipe. It's more of an assembly.
Cool.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you don't have to heat up the oven or the stove. Just put it all together. It is the Southern Sisters macaroon ice cream torte.
Oh, you sold me at ice cream.
There's nothing to it, honestly. Pick up everything at the grocery store that you need. You need about 30 chocolate or plain macaroon cookies. Just the packaged kind. And you're going to crumble them up. Now, that's the fun part. What I'll do sometimes is give one of the kids something flat that they can just kind of pound. I put the cookies in a Ziploc bag and just kind of let them pound and pound.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, get your frustrations out, right? You need about 30 of them, okay, crumbled. You're going to need 1 quart of coffee ice cream. Okay. I would soften it just slightly. Maybe let it sit out on the counter for a couple of minutes. You also need 1 quart of chocolate ice cream, 1 cup of milk chocolate toffee bits, a.k.a. Heath candy bars.
I was going to say, yeah. Okay,
right?
cool.
Now, you can smash them yourself if you want to. If you still have some frustration that you need to get out, you can smash those yourself. You can even buy them already chopped into little bits.
Okay,
They have that in the grocery store. And then maybe a little hot fudge topping for the topping, okay?
Yes.
Now, what you're going to do is you're going to sprinkle about 1/3 of the crumbled cookies into an ungreased 9-inch springform pan. Now, do you know what a springform pan is?
I'm nodding because I want to know.
Basically, I love it. It's one of my favorite things in my kitchen. A springform pan allows you to assemble things vertically. Okay?
Okay.
So rather than being flat, it allows you to layer things up, and you keep things in the springform pan while you bake them or while you freeze them. And then when you take the springform pan off, it literally has a latch on the side that loosens it, and you lift it straight up, and that leaves your dessert standing straight up.
Nice. Like a
Okay.
layered cake of sorts.
Yeah, or have you ever seen a cheesecake, how it's got those straight sides?
Yeah.
That's how they do it with a springform pan. So you're going to put 1/3 of your crumbled cookies into the pan, layer it with 2 cups of coffee ice cream, another 1/3 of the crumbled cookies, and 2 cups of chocolate ice cream, and 1/2 cup of those yummy toffee bits. Then you're going to repeat those layers again. Pop it in the freezer, freeze it covered until it's firm. You know, one of the nice things about this creamy, cold, decadent dessert, you can make it 2 months in advance.
Right.
How about that?
Oh,
So you can make
beautiful.
it today. Let's say you have a get-together 2 weeks from now. You just pull it out maybe for about 10 minutes before you slice it. It is a creamy, cold, chocolatey, delectable confection. Perfect for summer.
And you know what? When the Wenz starts drinking, nothing goes better with that than some sweets.
No, I know,
I love sweets.
I know, right?
So
Little
good.
little alcohol and chocolate go hand in hand.
That's
if you
right.
do ask me. Yes.
And this recipe is so easy. And in case you missed any part of it, it's accessible on southernsistershome.com.
Just go to southernsistershome.com, click on the blog. That's where we put the recipes every week. So check it out.
And of course, you can check out Jenny's show on Facebook Live. This is the uncensored and unscripted.
We get a little crazy on the Facebook Live version.
Southern Sisters Gone Wild.
No, it's a little wild. Yeah, unedited and uncensored. No, yes, you can find us there on Facebook, Southern Sisters with Jenny Earhart.
Jenny, you're such a dear. Thank you so much for coming
Thanks for having me, Joey.
The topic wheel abides here with @Radio Griff. Welcome back to Wenz World, Griff. How you been, man?
Always good to be here in Wenz World. I'm so excited. It's like a 3-day weekend for lots of us.
Yes.
College football is beginning, but it means we're even closer to the real football starting. NFL action, which I know is your favorite. It's my favorite. I mean, we're in the South. College football, big deal. I get it. But NFL action is just days away now. I'm jacked.
You know what? I feel pretty jacked, too, lugging this 39-pound topic wheel up 7 flights of
I
stairs.
can see, man. Those biceps are popping.
Woo! You ready to give her a old
I'm
spin?
ready. I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Marijuana vending machines. Princess Diana still dead 20 years later.
Oh, my goodness.
Black Gay Pride Weekend. Oh! Cherokee Ledger, Mercedes-Benz. You have the lead on this story.
Yeah, unexpected. Cherokee Ledger on the topic wheel? What's going on? The Cherokee Ledger is the local newspaper up in Cherokee County, Georgia, where I live. You live there too, I believe.
Yeah, it's what you find underneath your tires.
Right. They put it in your mailbox for free. You know, just please read this. Please, somebody read this. I'm not sure how they make money, how they're still in operation. I mean, honestly, the thing's thicker than the AJC is on most days.
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of impressive that they pull this off every week, the Cherokee Ledger. But in the Ledger, they have a little section. It's basically like reader comments. They call it the soapbox. And I saw one of the hottest takes of all time. No longer do you need to go to ESPN and First Take or Skip Bayless on FS1 or wherever he is these days. No longer do you need to go there for your hot takes. There's a place where it has even hotter takes.
Oh, boy.
The Cherokee Ledger soapbox.
Oh, fill me in.
And here's what it said from one of the readers of the great Cherokee Ledger newspaper up there in Cherokee County. The new Mercedes Stadium is really nice in Atlanta. It is a shame they don't have a professional team to play in it. Oh my. Talk about fire.
Now, are they roasting United or are they roasting the Falcons?
That's what I thought, too. It could be either way. Now, I'm going to assume it's the Falcons. So, I mean, we roast the Falcons all the time here.
Of course,
We're not
rightfully so.
Rightfully
they blew a 25-point lead.
Right, the biggest blown Super Bowl of all time.
Yep.
But they did make the Super Bowl last year. And now this is someone who I assume is probably like one of those typical, the Braves only won one World Series, and they won all those divisions. They only won one World Series. They suck. Or, the Falcons, they choked. Just that anti-type of, like, downer fan.
Sure.
And that's like the hottest of takes, and of all places, in the Cherokee Ledger. Calling the Falcons, the team that finished number one in the NFC last year, calling them not a professional team. I mean, I'm not a Falcons guy, but hey, they're probably still, honestly, the team to beat in the NFC. They're pretty darn good still, I think.
Safe to say that they're the best losers of all time.
Of all time, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right. And almost, though, is the Mercedes Stadium... Is it even that nice? The roof doesn't even open and close right.
Everybody that goes there raves about it.
The pictures I saw from the last preseason game, it looked incredible. I'll give you that. It looked pretty cool. But yeah, to rip on the Falcons like that, I mean, this isn't the Falcons of old. This isn't the Falcons that couldn't win, to have 2 back-to-back winning seasons. This is the Falcons team that was just in the Super Bowl and almost beat the greatest dynasty of all time, the greatest quarterback that ever played the game. They were that, I mean, they choked in the end, but this isn't the Falcons of old. This is a great Falcons team, and people say they're going to be even just as good, and if not better, this year.
Whoa.
But leave it to old, I'm going to call him Leroy something or another in Canton, Georgia, writing into the Cherokee Ledger.
Classic Leroy.
Hot takes, man. I guess Skip Bayless moved to Cherokee County. Holy smokes.
All right, let's give her another spin. Here we go. Woo! Dragon Con, Mayweather McGregor 2.0.
2.0, yes.
Let's see. Oh, I am so glad that this landed here. Cop in Cobb County.
Oh.
Legitimizes my claims as of late that it's good to be of the white persuasion, Radio Griff.
I saw this story, and it's picked up quite some steam this week.
Lieutenant Greg Abbott.
Trending all over Twitter. It happened right here in Georgia.
Right here in Cobb County.
And it's become a national story almost overnight.
Yeah, I mean, the new inner city, that's where the Braves play. 3:47 a.m., a routine DUI stop, the right shoulder.
3:47 in the morning.
Nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
No.
Point number 2 there.
Right.
Getting back to point number 1 of how good it is to be white. The cop pulls these people over.
Yeah, what makes this the story is the audio, right?
Brace yourselves.
I've only heard of what he said. I haven't actually heard the audio. So
here's the context. He's asking her to put her hands up and essentially get out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And she's a little worried about moving her hands in light of all the police videos. These rogue cops.
Right. She's
destroying
trying to play
the
cool,
lives.
play it safe.
Yeah, right.
She didn't want to get shot.
Pretty smart.
Remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right? All the videos you've seen, have you seen white people get killed? You have.
This is proof positive that if you are white, even if you're drunk as a skunk at 3:47 in the morning in the county of Cobb, that the big boss man will not destroy your life.
Big boss man, I like that.
He will let you live another day. So there is such a thing as white privilege. I'm a white guy, and I'm here to admit it, and I'm okay with it. I don't feel guilty. I feel privileged and honored to be. I'm not proud to be white. I'm not saying I'm proud to be who I am. I'm just saying there are advantages. You won't get killed by cops, according to Lieutenant Greg Abbott of Cobb County.
Right. And I'm scared to say comment on this. I will say I am thankful of my racial background because I have seen that it can be tougher to be of other races.
Sure.
And this guy, his comments are blown up because it creates it's a great click. It's a great link.
Immediately
it creates a great headline. But if you really listen to the audio, you can tell he's saying it. He probably shouldn't have said it, obviously. But he's saying it in jest. He's being sarcastic. But
the fact that he kept repeating himself.
He did.
Like 3 times.
Yeah. To me, he sounds like a cop who's fed up with all this anti-cop stuff. He says, "Oh, cops only shoot black people." Blah blah blah. It sounds like he's a little disgruntled about all that.
Sure.
On video while pulling someone else over. I mean, maybe this is something you talk about with your bros back at the station while you're eating donuts. But during a traffic stop,
so stereotypical of Radio Griff.
I know. I'm sorry. Of all things to be stereotypical. While you're being recorded, probably not the best idea, man.
And the fact that he's ranked lieutenant, I imagine he's been on the force for quite some time. Probably seen his fair share of battles.
Yeah.
The mean streets of Cobb County. Which, by the way, suburban sprawl has made Cobb County practically what Atlanta was 25 years ago. We now have mass transit systems that are reaching outside of the inner city.
Yeah, they now have a baseball team.
A baseball team.
A stadium.
A place called the Battery, which it simply implies an arrest.
Right, yeah.
Just sponsored by Duracell or anything.
I don't see this ending well for this cop.
Absolutely.
Not in a super bad way, but he's probably going to lose his job.
He's been placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. Not much really to investigate here.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you're being recorded. You got to be smarter than that.
Yeah, dash cam. This is dash cam footage. This isn't some raw edited cell phone video. This is from the cop's personal microphone.
Yeah, so he knew. It's not like a bystander was taking video, like you said. No,
right.
This is his own video, literally. Yeah. So,
sticky situation. But to all my white friends out there, as my good friend Bobby McFerrin would say, don't worry, be happy. You ready for the next rip on the old topic wheel?
I'm ready to do it. Let me get my sleeves rolled up.
Yeah, you don't want to tear anything.
I want them to get caught in there. Let's do it.
Black Gay Pride Weekend. Zeke Elliott. Oh, the greatest quarterback of all time, Colin Kaepernick with a K.
Kaepernick with a K.
What's the latest, Radio Griff?
Well, Aaron Rodgers this week came out. The great Aaron Rodgers, who's my I picked this week to be my quarterback on my fantasy team.
By the way, sidebar, doesn't his porn stash make him look like Ned Flanders?
It does. I like that. That's good. I think the stash makes him better. People claim the stash really helps him out there and makes him a better quarterback. And I think he's going to have a killer year. I think the Packers are going to win the NFC, as I predicted here in Wenz World a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he came out and said the reason Colin Kaepernick's not employed is just simply because of his protests. He's probably good enough to be on a team, but he's not employed because of his protests. So I take that as him saying, It's not necessarily about race. The dude took a knee. There's a lot of a circus that surrounds that right now. And teams just don't want that circus. He's not good enough to warrant that. There are some players, Zeke Elliott, he's doing God knows what, but after his suspension and he comes back, like the Cowboys are still going to play him and still deal with, they're going to obviously have added, first off, they're the Cowboys, and then Zeke Elliott getting in trouble on the most popular team in the country. There's going to be even more added attention this year on Zeke Elliott.
Sure.
But they're still going to put up with it because Zeke Elliott is arguably the best running back in football.
And we already have seen some offseason shenanigans in Dallas. The release of Lucky Whitehead, the receiver.
Not good enough.
Accused of not good enough if he was a Zeke Elliott type or a Des Bryant type.
If he's Des Bryant, he's still on the team.
Yeah, he was accused of shoplifting, but he was in the air on an airplane at the time, apparently.
Yeah, didn't it turn out he had an alibi and he was...
Yeah, it was a solid alibi, and the guy's dog got stolen. Like, what a rough week.
Yeah, that's tough for him. But there's more to the Kaepernick story. Aaron Rodgers had... every day there's new Kaepernick news.
Yeah.
Here in Atlanta, this artist painted a mural of Colin Kaepernick on the side of some building here in Atlanta, of Colin Kaepernick in a Falcons uniform. And the artist did this to him, and basically his point is, the artist had a quote, he said, Colin's stance lines up with Atlanta's civil rights history, and so if anything, his presence here would be a good fit.
And he's very talented, this artist, Fabian Williams.
It's actually a pretty cool-looking mural.
Yeah, he's done quite a few of these murals in the downtown Atlanta area. I want him to get on the show, and I want him to tell me what he thinks about why the Falcons, in particular...
Well, when I look at the quote, I wonder, does he mean presence, like just the presence of the mural fits in Atlanta?
Right.
Or does he mean, is he advocating for Colin Kaepernick to be the backup quarterback or even the quarterback for your Atlanta Falcons?
Well, he put him in a Falcons jersey, so I can only deduce that he'd like to...
He actually wants him on the team. Matt Ryan's on the hot seat.
Right, or Matt Schaub.
Or Schaub.
He's the backup.
No, I think he wants Kaepernick to be the guy.
Oh, boy. I don't know. Matty Ice, though he didn't
MVP?
play that well in the second half.
Here's my hot take. Colin Kaepernick could win a Super Bowl with this Atlanta Falcons team. Matt Ryan obviously can't. He proved it last year. He can't.
Ooh.
Colin Kaepernick, you switch him out. You put him on this team. You put Matt Ryan kneeling down. Colin Kaepernick wins Super Bowl he wins it last year, and he wins it again this year. Falcons, Arthur Blank, get Cap on the phone. Plus, he fits into Atlanta, like this guy says. I think he has a point there. Kaepernick, traditionally, has been number 7.
Sure.
Who was the last number 7 to play for the Atlanta Falcons?
Michael Vick.
Holy smokes.
Oh, it's meant
Coincidence?
to be.
I think not. How are those related? I don't know, but it makes sense. Colin Kaepernick, Super Bowl champion for your Atlanta Falcons.
He could have gotten it done in 2012. He was really close.
He was closer in some ways than Matt Ryan was.
Yep.
He didn't choke it away. He fought for it. He was a fighter, and he almost had it. He almost came back and had it.
And he was the guy who overcame a deficit at halftime, being a 49er against the Atlanta Falcons.
Right. He's the one who overcame it. He just missed it. Matt Ryan choked it all away. He gave it up. He's not a fighter. He's not. He's not a winner like Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick should be the quarterback for your Atlanta Falcons.
Wow, that is the hottest of takes today.
He fit in perfectly here, like this Fabian says. It's a beautiful mural.
It really is.
Cap looks great in the red and black. The fro mixes in well with that. It looks good. I like it.
Well said. I think what we've learned today, as we recap our Topic Wheel hot take segment, is that if you do live in Cherokee County and your name is Leroy, perhaps be more specific about the lack of professionalism inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Are you talking about United? Are you talking about the Falcons? I need to know.
We just spent 10 minutes on it. He was probably talking about Atlanta United. He's probably a big soccer guy.
Sure.
Big soccer guy in Cherokee County.
Oh, figure. That's an outlier right there. Right. That's big time. The second thing that we learned today is that it is, in fact, safer to be white and be driving drunk, in Cobb County at least, than to be not white and driving drunk, according to Officer Lieutenant Greg Abbott.
Yep.
His words, not mine. His words.
No comment.
Just saying. And point 3, according to some at Radio Griff on Twitter, Colin Kaepernick should and possibly will lead the Atlanta Falcons to a Super Bowl. The only way I can see this happening in real life is if...
In real life. This is just fantasy world that we talk.
It's a radio show. But if Matt Ryan goes down and Matt Schaub just doesn't cut the mustard, they would bring in somebody like that.
There will be loud cries for Colin. If he's still unemployed at that point, if Ryan goes down, even if Schaub is, come on. You want Kaepernick.
Absolutely.
Schaub or Kaepernick, let's be real. Come on.
I'd rather have Kaepernick on my team than Matt Schaub.
So.
I'd rather have Colin Kaepernick than Matt McGloin, our backup in Philly. He's awful. It's just terrible. Why not give him a chance? Let him try out at least.
Yeah, especially you put him on a team that's good.
Yeah.
Like I think if he had obviously with the Niners, he had the right pieces around him and it made him better, like with any quarterback.
Sure.
The last couple of seasons with the Niners, those are like some of the worst teams of all time.
I agree.
And of course he wasn't going to be good. So
nobody could thrive.
You put him on this potentially great Falcons team. Let's see what he can do that Matt Ryan can't do. And maybe, did Arthur Blank, did he plant this artist to do this mural? Just to float it out there, get the idea out there, get the Falcons fans to thinking about it.
Right.
Arthur Blank's always a few steps ahead of everybody. Maybe this is his way of kind of feeling out how people feel about Kaepernick possibly being the quarterback of your Atlanta Falcons this year.
Big time takes.
Wow.
All of them hot. Boy, I got to wear gloves next week at this topic wheel. It's on fire.
Fire.
We'll get back here. This time next week, folks, we will be mere hours away from the Atlanta Falcons kickoff.
Atlanta's official pregame show?
Atlanta's official pregame show. As you know, if you're hearing this on air, this is between 11 and 12 on Sunday. In case you didn't know, we've been moved from 4 o'clock. Great move. I'm very happy and excited that this show will be on before the kickoff, 1 o'clock games, and obviously before 4 o'clock in Monday Night Football. So next week, we're going to have Week 1 official predictions.
Oh, man.
This is going to be awesome.
I got to start studying.
Yeah, and we're gonna keep track like we did last year. I think I slightly edged you out.
No, that's fake news.
Is that fake news? Yeah. Fake news. This is not CNN. Follow Radio Griff on Twitter at Radio Griff and find his personal account, and you can troll him there as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And at Wenz World Radio.
Hey, maybe we'll get some more hot takes in the Cherokee Ledger this week.
Absolutely. Why not? I think that's the place to go. Check under your rear tires for the Cherokee Ledger. It's quite of a read. Till next time.
Bye.
Hey everyone, this is Jenny Earhart with the Southern Sisters Radio Show, the show for Southern women and the men who adore them. We love to chat every week about Southern culture, Southern food, hospitality, basically everything that makes up the Southern lifestyle. Join us this Saturday at noon and again on Sunday at 10 a.m. right here on AM 920 The Answer. I'm in Wenz World and I love it.
Hey, it's your friendly voice of Atlanta Traffic, Chris Monroe, on Twitter, at Atlanta Traffic. Have an unused musical instrument sitting around, a guitar, wind instrument, or brass instrument you haven't played in years? Then gift it to the Gift of Music Foundation. We'll refurbish it and get it to a kid or program in need. For more information, giftofmusic.org.
Hey, my friends, if you like the show, follow us on Twitter, at Wenz World Radio, WENZ World Radio. More Wenz World coming up right after this.
What's my fantasy? Fantasy football, of course.
My friends, it's football time, and that means fantasy football. And I have my good buddy back in Wenz World, Mr. Andy Singleton. You can find him on Twitter at People's Pen and a Z instead of the S in between. Also has a fantastic show found online, fantrax.com. Subscribe on YouTube and connect on Twitter at Fantrax. Andy, welcome back to Wenz World, man. It's been a minute. How you been?
Yeah, everything's good. A lot has changed over the last off season between last year to this, but happy to be back, happy to be doing this with you again. Fantrax is actually a site, fantrax.com, and they're a league hosting site, home of 9 different fantasy sports, including college fantasy football, NFL, NBA, everything you'd expect. But they've been around for over 12 years and just decided to finally this year start doing their own content. So there's a blog up with articles daily. There's Fantrax Radio with about 14 different podcast shows on there now. And then I'm doing videos. So I've been bringing in a bunch of different analysts from throughout the fantasy football world and industry and having them come down and break down players and a lot of good stuff, quick-hitting videos. I try to keep everything under 5 minutes to make it, fast and to the point. So you can search Fantrax on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. A lot of good stuff, and hopefully, some of your listeners will make their way over and search Fantrax on YouTube.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can vouch for that. I watched several videos on draft updates and maybe who to avoid, who not to, who to take chances on, and Fantrax is definitely the place to go. It's a go-to. Blogs, information, videos, the whole nine, and it's free, which is really cool. A lot of these sites charge you for content, but you guys are doing it for the love of the game, and I definitely respect that. So let's get to it, man. I think a lot of us are involved, some of us with money leagues, so we're spending a lot of time prepping for these drafts. A lot of them have already taken place. Many of us are waiting till after week 4 of the preseason, just in case. You never know. But one of the things that came to my mind last night is I'm watching ESPN, which is obviously fake sports news, and they always have Marshawn Lynch, Eddie Lacy, the big names. Who are some of the big names that we should avoid early on, especially in this year's 2017 fantasy draft, just based off of the name recognition and not fall into that trap, in your opinion?
Yeah, for me, it's really more about where players are going, and it's based on, what we can read and determine from ADP, which is average draft position. You can kind of get a read and a feel for where the consensus is for these players and where you're going to have to select them. It turns into more of a positional thing than a specific player for me. Right. For instance, I would not draft a quarterback high. The variance from quarterback from 5 to 15 is so minute. We're literally talking about 1 or 2 plays on the course of a season. You could have a 50-yard pass that gets, called back for holding, and that separates a QB5 from a QB15 in fantasy. It's that small of a field. So I wouldn't be taking a quarterback early on. So when you talk about big names, you talk about Tom Brady, you talk about Aaron Rodgers, the quarterbacks we know. I would wait on the quarterback as long as you can. There are some variances to that. I know I'm saying this, but I have taken Aaron Rodgers in quite a few leagues this year, only because when he starts slipping to the 4th, 5th round, I either want to be the first or the last to take my first quarterback. And that's a position you can wait on. Tight end is another one. Rob Gronkowski is always in the conversation for, is he a first-round pick? Is he a second-rounder? He's going around the second round right now, which, again, is just a little bit too expensive for me. Tight end, to me, there's about 5 at the top, and then it drops off.
Right.
And then you have a lot of question marks, but there's a lot of upside in those question marks. So it's either go big and go heavy for one of those top 5 guys that you feel can be safe and consistent week to week, or you double up later on at the end where you're getting 2 guys like Martellus Bennett and Eric Ebron, or guys of that caliber, Cameron Brate even. Rookie tight ends I would avoid, except in the exception of Giants rookie tight end Evan Engram.
So what about some players that we should probably avoid in the early on?
Players I would avoid, I know Elliott's going to be a guy that everybody's curious about, especially with the news breaking that, maybe his suspension is reduced. It's such a tough call because he could literally be a top 3 pick, or he could slip to the 3rd round because of it. It really just comes down to your personal feeling. You got to have some fun in this as well. You got to have some fun in playing. If you want Elliott on your team, then don't be afraid to take him. That's as simple as it is. But also know that if the 6 games holds up, you're probably not going to see him until week 8. So that's half your season right there.
Well, let's touch on that hot hand, the running back position. And there are several teams with a lot of question marks. Some are in better positions than others. For instance, Cincinnati, running back by committee there with a new rook, Joe Mixon, Jeremy Hill, Gio Bernard. And then in Philly, you got LeGarrette Blount, Wendell Smallwood, and some say Donnell Pumphrey is going to step into a big role with that new pony package with him and Darren Sproles. I want to talk first, though, about Minnesota. Now, we have the rook, Dalvin Cook, and Latavius Murray exchanging playing time there. Latavius obviously had a big year last year, 12 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. But the hot name here is Dalvin Cook, obviously a hot Seminole. What's your take on this situation in Minnesota? Who would you draft?
Yeah, so Dalvin Cook at one point was by far the most sought-after college running back out of Florida State. And then that just shows you how deep this running back class really was, because he went from 1st to 5th and now anywhere in between that. And it all comes down to opportunity. Of course, Latavius Murray is a big name and has had some success, but he's never quite lived up to what people expected him to be based on his size-speed combination. He, to me, now is what Matt Asiata was for the Vikings, only better than Matt Asiata. So you have a souped-up, trumped-up version of Matt Asiata now in that Vikings backfield, but I still think it's Cook's role, will dominate the touches. If he got 200 carries, I'd be happy with that. And I think Murray's definitely in the mix, but he is going to, hinder some of what Cook can be. Cook is going to be more of the between the 20s guy, and Murray's going to be more that short yardage goal line situation guy, which is going to eat into some of Cook's rookie fantasy value.
Or you're talking about the hot running back rookie class here, and Christian McCaffrey definitely falls into that running back / receiving running back / he can line up in the slot and do some damage downfield. How excited are you about the prospect of Christian McCaffrey, say around rounds 3 or 4? Is that somebody you're jumping on, or is that somebody you feel will go later on in pretty much every draft?
Yeah, to me, Christian McCaffrey is, just kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you trust him and take him that early, I feel like he's not going to deliver. And if you pass on him, I feel like he's going to be the guy you wish you had taken.
Right.
There's a lot of discussion of he's much more valuable in a PPR league. I see the theory behind that. Let's go back for a minute. Cam Newton is apparently on record as having stumped for McCaffrey to be drafted. He said, we've already had types like Leonard Fournette here. We've never had a dynamic receiving running back. So he actually, from what I understand, actively had a hand in getting McCaffrey onto the Panthers roster. Now, I say that because a lot of people just assume that because McCaffrey's a good receiver that this is automatically going to be a thing. But we've never seen it. So how do we know that this is actually something Cam Newton can do? Not to take away from his skills, but he likes to push the ball downfield. He's a big, strong guy with a big arm, and he likes to take chances down the field. That's why guys like Ted Ginn have success. I've looked for the receivers more, the burners, than what I would for McCaffrey to all of a sudden just assume 50, 60, 70 receptions. So I want to see it before I actually trust it. I'm not saying it won't be there. I'm not saying it can't be there. But for me to invest the third-round pick that high, it's really discounting Jonathan Stewart's role in there. That goes kind of back to the Cook, Latavius Murray thing. I think Stewart has more value than people want to give him credit for. He's going to be that short yardage goal line bruiser. So that's going to cut into McCaffrey's value. So if you're not getting those receptions from McCaffrey, while he could produce for you, there is some limitations to his upside. And that's a really high pick to invest with that many questions.
I think a lot of people are worried about drafting Jonathan Stewart. I mean, he had an 800-yard year, but no TDs to speak of. So the idea of possibly adding a McCaffrey into that mix is exciting a lot of people. Now, I was keeping in Carolina, and you brought up the 2015 league MVP. A lot of people are sleeping on him and possibly even burying Cam Newton, not even looking at him as their starting franchise fantasy quarterback. What do you have to say to those people?
I think that's a mistake. I mean, you had the Super Bowl hangover last year. The whole team was just a mess.
Right.
I think they got the message. I think they realized that. I think they're going to be much improved this year. You still have a lot of key components there. You got Calvin Benjamin, you got Devin Funchess, you got big receivers. As I mentioned, Cam is a superior player. So he had one down year, and everybody's ready to write him off. But that kind of goes back to what I led with, that the QB position, especially in fantasy, really goes 20 deep. You got your three at the top, and then anywhere from 4 to 20 it's a crapshoot.
Right.
So you got guys like Ben Roethlisberger that could be top 5, or he could finish QB 20. You got guys like Cam Newton that could finish top 5, or he could finish QB 20. And it's just no reason to jump on a guy. So I'm happy with Cam as my quarterback. I think he's obviously got that top 5 upside, but there's no reason to write him off, and there's no reason to be the first guy to draft him either.
And again, if you're just joining us, we are with fantasy expert Andy Singleton. You can connect with him on Twitter at PeoplesPen, PeoplezPen, and obviously fantrax.com, FANTRAX. Also subscribe on YouTube. It's a phenomenal channel, lots of insight, and free, which is the best thing about them. They do it for the love of the sport. We're taking a look back at running backs. We teased it earlier, so I want to get into this situation out in Kansas City. Andy Reid loves Kareem Hunt. In the wake of the PCL tear of Spencer Ware, he's done for the year. Charcandrick West was sort of a popular name on fantasy lineups last year. What do you think the realistic approach is for fantasy owners if they're going to draft any Kansas City running back? Who would you take first, Kareem Hunt or Charcandrick West?
It's not even close. It's Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
And Kareem Hunt was pushing Spencer Ware for the starter's role before Ware got hurt. It's not even a competition to me, in my opinion. It's just a matter of, is Hunt everything that we want him to be? I got to spend some time with him at the Senior Bowl this past January, and he plays mean. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. Great guy, great kid, can do it all, versatile, but he's a rookie. This is really Kareem Hunt's role. He's more than likely going to be a 250 carry plus guy. So how could you not want that? And
right.
Andy Reid notoriously, features his running backs, and this is his guy now. So there's nothing to not like about Kareem Hunt. All the hype, all the ballooning of his value and ADP and everything like that is legitimate and real.
All right, let's take it up to Cincy. Now they have a triple threat run by committee problem here. It's a good problem to have, but it's not a good problem to have if you're a fantasy owner, because all these mixed touches make it hard for you to earn points. And with the rookie Joe Mixon mixing it up with Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard, what do you think about this dynamic? And is it even worth picking one of these guys, given the fact that all three of them are probably going to get a fair share of touches?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the McCaffrey thing for me.
Right.
Mixon's a super talent, but I think this year's a little too early to be taking him where you need to take him. It's just too murky of a situation, too many mouths to feed there in that backfield. And he could ultimately wind up being the guy, but it's not out of the gate. And if you're drafting a guy that high, you want a guy you know you can rely on from week one through entire season. I'm not drafting a guy that early to stash him, hoping that he assumes that role at the midway point for the second half of the year. It's just too high of an investment for me.
Let's take it south to the Big Easy. Mark Ingram going to be sharing carries with future Hall of Famer Adrian Peterson. 5 years younger. Fantasy owners, should we be wary about drafting Adrian Peterson in this situation, or is this something that we should jump on? Maybe not initially, but in the later rounds, maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah, so I'm currently doing an industry draft with other writers, and I mistakenly missed my pick and got Adrian Peterson auto-picked to my team.
Wow.
I want to say like in the 6th round or something like that. Ooh. And I was very adamant to see if I can get that switched, and I did switch it, and I switched it to Derrick Henry. So it's not about Adrian Peterson, it's about Mark Ingram, and Mark Ingram's still the guy there. You also have another rookie. We're talking about how deep this class was. Alvin Kamara is there. He's going to push for carries. He's not just a receiving option out of that backfield, which I think he, will be on the level of what McCaffrey does as far as a receiving running back from this rookie class. So it's another cloudy situation. He's one of those guys that I said, now that I made it clear I didn't want him on my roster, I thought I was going to have a phenomenal year. He's going to rush for 2,000 yards. What can I tell you?
Right.
But I don't want to take that gamble.
Now, everybody's all over Jameis Winston. Now he has his tight end in O.J. Howard, Deshaun Jackson leaving Washington, heading south to Tampa Bay, and Mike Evans. There's no reason for him not to succeed on paper, but who would you prefer more on your team? Marcus Mariota or Jameis Winston? Who you choosing and why?
It's very close. You can't go wrong with either.
Right.
There are drafts I've had that I've gotten both of them, so I'd be able to have that choice on a week-to-week basis beyond just the draft. There's a lot to like about both of them, but the thing that excites me most about the Bucs is the run game. And I know a lot of people are talking about Doug Martin because he's looked pretty good in the preseason,
right.
But he's gonna miss the first 3 weeks with his suspension. And Jacquizz Rodgers is a favorite of the head coach, Dirk Cotter. He brought him over from Atlanta. Last year when he was the starting running back for Tampa was getting as many as 30 carries a game. He's the running back one in Tampa for the first 3 weeks. Wow. You could see 100 carries in those first 3 games for this guy. And the reason I say that is because that offensive line is vastly improved. They add O.J. Howard, who will play because he is a great blocker right out of the gate. You add Deshaun Jackson, so you can't stack the box against this backfield anymore. And you have Jameis, who's going to be looking to push the ball, and still has Mike Evans. There's a lot of weapons there that all lead to me thinking that this running back situation in Tampa Bay is what's really going to be the fantasy asset there. And Jacquizz Rodgers is a guy that's kind of getting slept on. And to me, that's a guy you should be trying to take at the very least for the first quarter of the season.
My friends, there's so much more to talk about with Andy Singleton as it pertains to our fantasy drafts, fantasy football in the early going for this 2017 season. But we are up against a hard clock. But this conversation continues on demand, SoundCloud.com, up in the search bar, WENZ World. Stay tuned, more Wenz World to come.
I love me some good old-fashioned wrestling.
The Rock actually cares about this ongoing soap opera.
This is your male soap opera moment.
Look out, Boots! There's fireworks are flying, emotions are riding, and we're riding high on the crest of the wrestling wave right here in Wenz World, live and local weekly with the one, the only, the invincible Vincent K. Bucci!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The male soap opera moment has returned, and I am feeling invincible more and more every single day, believe it or not.
I was listening to my favorite show, beside Wenz World, of course, 106.3, my good friend WACHS, and you were on there talking about a little side project you got going on, Booch. What's up with that, man?
Yes, I did. Well, this is the big moment. The Booch is going to eat a car.
Well, okay, what kind of car are we talking about? We're talking a Camry, a Corolla, we talking an Explorer, a Santa Fe? What are we talking about?
It's a Ford Festiva.
A Ford Festiva?
1991 Ford Festiva, yeah.
Okay, how does one eat a car? One bite at a time like an elephant or what?
We're going to take pieces of the car, we're going to grind them up, and put them into capsules, tiny little like stainless steel capsules, and I'm just going to take them down like I was swallowing like medicine pills.
So about how many capsules approximately are you going to be swallowing?
Over the course of the whole project, a ton. For each show that I do, it's probably going to be like 15 or 20.
Whoa, aren't you concerned about your digestive tract?
I was at first, but like I said, I went to a doctor and I sat down with him. I asked him all the questions, and he said, as long as you do it this way, you should be fine. He said that, there's a certain amount of capsules, something the body can handle, but you won't know for sure till you actually go out there and do it. And once you find your limit, stop, no matter what it is.
Right.
And then know that for the next few shows going forward, because he said that my health should be the most important thing above anything else.
Well, of course, man. I mean, you don't want to go swallowing cars all willy-nilly. You got to have a game plan.
Exactly. This is a very beat-up car. It's like it's begging me to eat it. It's basically...
Booch, eat me. Eat me, Bucci.
Yes. So the interior is a very uncomfortable car to drive in. I will say that, but it's definitely something that I'm looking for. There's definitely a project I'm looking forward to taking advantage of.
So again, where does this start, and how can we follow this project?
The project is being documented by the School of Humans, which is a production company that I reached out to when I decided to do this, and I worked with them through Daytime Fighting League. So I had developed a relationship with these guys. So when I made the decision that I wanted to do this, I asked them, would you guys I would love if you guys could film this for me. And they said absolutely. So they're the ones that are kind of like, that's where you can find it. Eventually, I also have a new website that I put out. It's called VinnyTheBooch.com. I launched it about a week ago. So all the list of upcoming shows are going to be there on that site. That's where everybody can find that out. And of course, through social media, and also in addition to the School of Humans documenting the show, the regular guys, Larry is also going to be part of helping me give progress as well. So if you just tune in regularly to the regular guys on 106.3 FM, 1230 AM, The Fan 2, you'll be able to see, or hear, I should say, everything that's going on. Like, Larry definitely wants to be in on the production as well. At first, he kind of had a look on his face like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, that's natural.
Oh, it's natural. I expected it.
Right.
But once I explained to him how I wanted to do it, and I explained to him that, I came from this from an intelligent point of view, he took a liking to it instantly and said, this is great. And he definitely wants to, keep track of the progress as well. So it'll be through that. It'll be through my website and through the Regular Guy Show.
Awesome, man. Congratulations. This is huge. This could lead to SUVs, perhaps monster trucks down the line.
Yes.
One car at a time,
I said one car at a time. I remember Jerry, who's also going to be helping me through all of this. Jerry
Who
Truman.
knows? One day he might eat the grave digger.
The grave digger. Sunday. Booch at the Georgia Dome.
Oh, yeah. He asked me at one point, would I consider eating like a Ford F-150, and I said,
super cab, baby.
I said one car at a time. Let me just say that. That's why I started off with the Ford Festival. I wanted to start small and work my way up. If this becomes successful, I might go for the Ford F-150. I might do the Gravedigger. I might do a monster truck. Maybe, who knows? Maybe even 18-wheeler might come into play one day if I get crazy enough with this.
Well, this is huge, and of course, you can track this on the Regular Guy Show every weekday between 2 and 5, 106.3 and 1230 AM, The Fan 2. Also on Vinny the Booch, VINNY, the BOOCH.com, right?
Yes, that's my new website, yes.
Awesome, man. This is great. Stay tuned, on demand, exclusive male soap opera moment, live with the Booch in studio. Special guest Jerry Truman, the one and only Jerry Truman.
What up?
Circa TRG 2000s, back when I was listening, man. Great stuff. Great times ahead. On demand, SoundCloud.com, up in the search bar, WENZ World. Thanks for listening. Have a nice day.
Bang, bang.
Hey, y'all, this is your Southern sister, Jenny Earhart, with the Southern Sisters Radio Show. I would love to connect with you on Facebook. Check us out at Southern Sisters with Jenny Earhart and online at southernsistershome.com. I'm in Wenz World, and I love it.
Welcome back to Wenz World. We're back in the Artist Corner spotlighting musician Greg Kihn. His latest album, Rekindled, available now on Amazon, also on iTunes, and check him out online, gregkihn.com, Kihn. And folks, we're going to pick up where we left off last week. Greg's talking about his life on the road in the early days.
One of my first gigs God, after my first album came out, one of my first gigs was at Winterland opening, and I didn't know who I was opening for. It was another one of those. Bill Graham called me at 4 o'clock, and he said, "Can you be over here by 7 o'clock, set up and ready to go?" And I said, "Yeah, what's the deal?" And he said, "Well, Cheap Trick is the opening band, and Robin Zander's got laryngitis. He can't do it. You got to come over, and you got to come over right now." And I said, "Of course, I'll be there." And I didn't even ask him who we were opening for. We get to the gig. I'm ready to go out there, and it's Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath fans are throwing, everything at me. They're giving me the finger. They're lighting candles. Oh my God! It was like the end of the world. They hated us. They totally hated us, and I was doing introspective love songs at the time.
Right? Yeah.
Just what the Black Sabbath crowd wants to hear. So they booed us off. I remember. Steve Wright, my bass player, came and said, "Well, let's just cut the set short and get the hell out of here." I said, "You got it, man. Let's go." So I go over to the side of the stage, and we're leaving. We cut the set short, and I walk right by Bill Graham. He's standing right there. And I go, "Bill, why'd you throw us to the wolves, man? Why'd you put us on with Sabbath?" He goes, "Hey, I just needed a warm body, and I wanted to see what you guys are made of." And I said, and he said, "I thought you were really good. Don't worry about the proud. I love you guys, and I'm going to hire you again." So we became one of Bill's favorite bands, and we opened up 1 million shows with all kinds of bands. I could write a book with Bill Graham stories. I got so many good ones.
That's awesome stuff. It's so fantastic. I was looking at your website, gregkihn.com. And unfortunately, you're not touring anywhere close to me, but you're still doing it, man. You're still on the road, making people smile and entertaining the masses, man. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and we love playing. I mean, after an 18-year hiatus when I was on the radio, I missed going on the road. I missed, it's kind of like summer camp. You get together with your buddies, and you go on a plane ride, and you know where you're going, and you get there and you play a gig. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
We go out there in the world, and we know everybody. And it's like, "Greg, where you been?" So I have a little bit of work to do to kind of reintroduce myself, but the new album's doing great. These gigs are just a lot of fun. The band, probably the best that the Greg Kihn band has ever sounded, or at least in the last 2 decades.
And that means a lot, because if you think about it, I mean, you've had some big names. Joe Satriani, who went solo, did his thing. You had the guitarist from Eddie Money as part of your group.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Lyon, and we had a lot of great, some big shoes to fill. But, it was always fun. And, as the years went by, I really came to appreciate my son, Rye, because he was playing all of these styles. He could play the Jimmy Lyon style leads, like an Eddie Money kind of a lead. Sure. He could play Satriani style shredding.
Wow.
He could play, like Dave Carpenter, Eric Clapton riffs. The guy could play anything. And that's why it's so much fun. We go out there and we can do a couple of songs. When you see the Greg Kihn band nowadays, you're going to see, obviously, you got to see the hits, like Jeopardy, Break Up, Lucky, all that stuff. But at the same time, we're throwing in a handful of songs from the new album, and they're going down great. And we've got a bunch of older songs that were never singles, but were, like For You and Madison Avenue, and they were turntable hits, but they weren't singles. So, I have a lot of, I got a vast catalog to choose from. And every night we go out there and we make the set list. It's always a new adventure.
On your website right now, and I think it's so cool that you're autographing some copies of your newest album and sending them out. And that's so cool and so interpersonal.
Yeah, I go over twice a week over to the office and I sign all the current CDs and stuff. It's one-stop shopping over there at the gregkihn.com website.
Yeah.
Because not only do we have Rekindled, which is the new CD, but we've also got our own greatest hits, The Best of Berserkly, which has 1 or 2 songs from every album. And a lot of people wanted to get that stuff, and it was not available for a long time. And here's another thing over the years that I've done. When everybody was selling their catalog, I was buying back my catalog. Over the years, I had a pretty decent career, and I had a little money in the bank. So when Rye Boy Music came up for sale, I was Johnny on the spot, and I wrote a check, and I bought it back right there.
Right.
And I bought back the master recordings. I bought back the artwork. I bought back, all the publishing, all the song, everything. So now I own the entire catalog. I think it's like 18 or 19 albums going back to 75. And now we've re-released them, and we've made them available for download on the GregKihn.com website. And, we're selling a lot of them. Because a lot of people say, I loved that your second album with For You by Bruce Springsteen. I love that. It was my favorite album in college. Well, hey, you can go to GregKihn.com and buy one right now.
Right.
So it's really kind of cool that over the years, I bought everything back. So if you go over to the website, you can buy the new album, you can buy the best of albums, or you can buy any of the catalog albums. It's all available there, plus all my novels and everything else. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you got a lot going on. And I love the stories that you tell, man, about your experiences of life on the road. But, man, I've always wondered what it's like to go out on the road and make a living there, do your thing. Can you share some stories or experiences that are unique to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, as you pointed out, we've been, I started back in the Paleozoic era, so I kind of span all of the eras of rock and roll.
Sure.
I got a couple of great stories.
Cool.
Here's a good one. I never get tired of telling this one. We were playing in Hobart, Indiana. I know where it was. I know when it was, because it was such one of those things you'll never forget. We were playing in Hobart, Indiana, which is a tiny little town in the middle of Indiana, 2 stoplights. And it was Hobart Days, the big festival. And they blocked off the 2 streets of the whole town, and they erected a stage there, and they blocked the traffic, and we were up on the stage, and we were playing for the whole town. It wasn't maybe a couple of thousand people. So it was a rainy day, and there was one delay after another. They'd have a bunch of local bands come and open for us. And we were sitting in a Winnebago, which was our dressing room, and it was one delay after another. It was like, another half an hour. Okay, another half an hour. Oh, it's another half an hour. Mm-hmm. So you can't let my guys be together in a Winnebago with 2 hours with nothing to do at a gig. Are you kidding me? So they started getting whacked out with a vengeance. And, we're drinking beer like it's going out of style, doing shots of vodka, and we smoked a ton of weed. So finally, the guy comes to get us, and he opens the door to the trailer, and his smoke comes billowing out like a Cheech and Chong movie. And like the guys are kind of walking out of there all blinking and in the sunlight, and we get up on stage, and I can live with all that. So we get up on stage, and the guy says, well, we're going to bring out the mayor of the town, and he's going to make a special presentation right before you play. So we get on stage, we plug in, we're ready to go. I give the guy the thumbs up sign. He's the mayor of the town. He comes in front and center of the stage, and he goes, and he's addressing the chief of police of the town.
Oh, geez.
And he goes, Chief Oshevsky, or whatever his name was. We, the grateful people of Hobart, Indiana, would like to present you with this brand new drug-sniffing dog.
Oh, my God.
And they bring out this dog. I swear to God, it was the size of a small horse. It was this huge German Shepherd, and he takes one walk. He's supposed to walk to the center stage by the mic. He looks at me and he goes right to me, and he starts sniffing my pockets, which are full of weed. I got like 3 or 4 joints in there, and I smell like Cheech and Chong. And the dog is over there, and he's nuzzling my pockets. And I can see the chief of police is going, it's a drug-sniffing dog, and he's smelling that guy's. I wonder if, and I had to do something right then and there, because I knew we were going to get busted right there in front of everybody. That would have been insane. So I counted off the first song. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. We go into the first song, It's like a million decibels. The dog hears that first chord on the guitar, and the dog did a standing broad jump. He must have gone 10 feet in the air, and he ran away. I don't know if the dog ever came back. I really don't. He just took off. The band completely freaked him out. And, of course, the mayor and the other guy, they all fled in terror. And we did the show. Everything was great. And as soon as it was over, we jumped in the car and got out of there.
Nice.
We knew that we weren't going to be around to answer any questions. But that was the famous drug-sniffing dog story. I'll never forget that one.
That is brilliant, man. I don't know if there's anything that could possibly follow that. I'm following along in my mind, and I think you made the best decision possible, man. Absolutely.
Well, you know, I had to do something, and I knew that the first chord was going to blow the ears off the dog.
Yeah.
And let's face it, come on. I mean, I was whacked out of my chord. I didn't have a whole lot of options.
Yeah, man.
Know?
I think you did the right thing. I would have done something similar. I don't know. Maybe I would have just crapped myself and ran away back into the...
But you know what? and because the band was so whacked out, we did a great show.
Right.
It was a fun show. We had a lot of fun. All the people dug it. But, you know, there you go. That's a typical crazy road story that could happen any night.
I got to say, I think that's the coolest story from the road I've ever heard. Go into a little bit about the creative process and what you do to write the music that you do.
You're using that same creative muscle in your brain, right, wherever that is. And it's the same thing that I use to write novels, to write short stories, to write songs. I'm really using that same part of my brain, the creative part. And it doesn't matter, you know, it takes a whole year to write a novel. It takes like maybe half an hour to write a song,
right,
or less. Let me put it this way. If it doesn't write itself right away, I put it on the shelf and I come back to it. Because I know that the spontaneity that you're looking for is really what makes a song special.
Right.
And, you know, whether you're writing a love song or an autobiographical song or something just fun like Big Pink Flamingos, you're using that same part of the brain. And I like to mix it up, you know, like I'll get up in the morning and I'll work on a novel for like an hour or two, and then maybe I'll have some lunch, and then I'll come back and I'll put the guitar out and I'll work on some songs in the afternoon for like 2 or 3 hours, and then maybe I'll go back and work on the novel after dinner. So I like to mix it up. And my wife says, you know, you're crazy because you're always working on 2 or 3 things. How do you keep, you know, track of all this stuff?
Yeah.
And I go, I don't know, but my mind works like this. And I know that when I go from one project to another, it's always fresh. You know what I mean? I pick up right where I left off in my life, and, you know, my experience. Whenever you let the song or the novel or the story or whatever you're working on tell itself, it's always better than if you told it. And, you know, you were thinking about putting together a book of all these great stories. Right now, I read all of the rock and roll biographies that come out. I read everything, by the way. I read fiction. I read everything. At the moment, I'm reading the Elvis Costello autobiography.
Wow.
It's blowing my mind. I'm thinking, God, this is what I should be doing. You know, I got enough stuff here to put in a book. So I'm about, you know, maybe 100 pages from the end, and I'm thinking, as soon as I've already started, and it kind of inspired me, and I've already started. I've written about 29, 30 pages of a future autobiography. Now, I don't know when this is going to be done, or whether it's going to be done in the next year or two, but I'm now predisposed to doing it, and the idea is hot in my brain. So it's just, we'll see where it goes. That's my philosophy about writing songs and everything. Let's just see where it goes. If it sucks, we won't play it for anybody.
I don't think I've ever conversed with somebody so authentic and genuine in their passion for their works of art. In your case, writing novels, making new music. first album in 21 years, rekindled.
Yeah.
It's definitely a must listen, and I would encourage everybody to head to gregkihn.com and, of course, connect with Greg on Twitter at Greg Kihn, and Kihn spelled K-I-H-N. Greg, man, this has been so cool, man, and I'm so thankful for this time together, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thanks a bunch, man.
Hey, thank you, Greg. You enjoy your day, sir.
All right, Joey. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.